This is the Griffin Realty Group Ask-A-Griffin podcast, episode number 13. Staging continued here. How do you optimize your property's flow? Are you a buyer, seller, or real estate agent who has questions about buying or selling residential property, but you can't find an easy way to get the answers? Well, then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Griffin Realty Group and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, if you really need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, you can take advantage of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin courses.com. All right, let's get started. Staging continued here. I want to talk about how do you optimize your property's flow? We get this question all the time. So let me hit a couple of simple bullet points here for you. When staging comes up and flow comes up, a lot of the time people that are sort of in the know about this subject bring up the term Feng Shui. I hope my Chinese pronunciation is correct. But that is a concept that has been around a long time, and it's applied regularly to staging of properties. And it has to do with this sense of energy. So when you Google it and you look at Wikipedia, I wanted to extract the basics of it that you can understand in layman's terms, and that is that Feng Shui is a concept that claims to use energy forces to harmonize people and their surrounding environment, okay? So it's this exercise, again, staging is an exercise of putting something together and trying to use this flow to have this energy that brings harmony to the way people feel in your house, right? How they feel in your house, which is the environment. So it's this combination of these things. So it's a tool. Staging is a tool to get this energy rolling in the right direction. And I think that's important for you to recognize. So the next point here is really the meat and potatoes of this conversation here. It's the key, though, is to maximize this sense of flow without being too sparse. So what does that mean? I personally believe that to maintain a Feng Shui or a nice flow and a nice harmony is to minimize. The less that you have in there without being too sparse, the more the buyer can get a sense of whether they can harmonize or not with this place. You see, a lot of people, we get into the little bit of a microeconomic discussion about, should I take my picture down? Well, it's a bigger discussion than that. Sure, you should, because when somebody is trying to bring their own energy into your house to see if they can make it harmonize with your home, those personal items are distractions to that energy. Because they get caught up in seeing the pictures of you, your family, your adventures, whatever it is that you have there. Or worse, you have some very personalized items that they don't agree with. And the next thing you know is, no, not this place, right? Now, there are some things physically that I've seen over the years. For example, properties that are near, well, whatever, let's just leave it at that. Properties that are near something that they don't like or they don't harmonize with or agree with, etc. That also crushes it. But we're talking about inside the property. That's where you have a sense of, as a seller, you have a sense of control. So what you want to do is you want to first walk through your own property as if it is not yours currently. See, once you make that decision to move, you need a new perspective. You need a new lens. You have to look at it as if you are a neutralized buyer, which is very difficult. That's why you need a professional realtor and or a professional stager to give you a sense of what we see. We are the professionals that know how to get a variety of buyers interested in your property, and they don't really want your stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of you have furniture that is nice and neutral and it can stay with the property, and that's a major convenience perhaps to somebody. But we're talking about the sense of trying to get the energy right so that buyer can feel comfortable making an offer and buying your house. That's what we're trying to get right here. So yes, there's a physical part of it, but we're after the energy today. And so the way that you do that is you look in each room and the way that it's really intended to be used. So clearly, an eating area is very critical. Now, I say an eating area because we have the benefit at the Griffin Realty Group of covering two very different marketplaces where downtown Boston, the majority of what we sell are condominium-sized spaces. And the majority of what we sell on Cape Cod are homes. So you have these different senses of space, but the way that we see it is that's just a wonderful, delicious backdrop upon which you can sit and say, okay, well, that might be a small space, but let's get the right table to show it off correctly. Because somebody looking for this condominium at this price range is not going to get something that's much bigger. So let's get the right stuff in place. And if you don't already have it, it's so worth getting a stager to find it for you, to show it off that way, to present it so that somebody can begin to harmonize with their future sitting at that table. Same thing for bedrooms. Same thing for offices. The same thing that we do when we stage the bed. Oh, you liked it against the wall where you couldn't look out the window, but originally it was designed so that the bed would look out the window and the energy was there. See what I mean? You've personalized it, sometimes even in funky ways. We're all quirky. We have these quirky things that we like to do. We slide the couch over to block off a whole section of the room, and that actually hurts the harmonizing ability of the buyer who might not want to live that way. And they can't now see the way that this place has been designed originally to house the furniture correctly for a more neutralized discussion about the space. Get it? I hope so, because it's really important. So again, maximizing the flow through these rooms and into these spaces is what we're doing here with this furniture. We're trying to open spaces. Now, if you have big furniture and you've really decided to sell and you're not going to keep some of these pieces, get it out of there if it's not enhancing the space, okay? So the final spot here, though, is why? Why are we doing all this? What is the actual process of the buyer like in the home? Well, imagine that I'm your listing agent and I'm going to meet a buyer agent and their buyer. Let's even assume it's only one singular person that's coming with the buyer agent, and I need to take them through this space. So imagine that I'm going to be proactive and introduce the spaces to them for what I like to term the nickel tour or the quick tour. Let me just give you a quick tour, talk about the property a little bit. And again, the smaller the property, the less that this happens, but the more dangerous that we're bumping into each other and creating a sense of too tight of a space. So this is very, very important now when it comes to these furniture pieces. Are they blocking the simple flow of this place? And are they enhancing the lightness and the brightness, giving a greater sense of spatial, right? Spatial space, not just square footage in the blocks on the bottom, but the height, the light. All of that is now part of this energized moment. And as we walk through, what does it feel like to that buyer? Because that's what they're looking for in the first flow. Now, if you've done that correctly, now imagine the second go through. Now imagine that the agent, that's the listing agent, backs off and really allows the buyer agent and or their client to really sit in some of these spaces, to look out the window, to look around and get a feeling for their friends and family coming to visit. Get a feeling for their table that they're not going to part with. Will it fit here? Right? What will my bed look like over there? Will I enjoy looking out this window? So you see, again, if it's staged to enhance the energy and all the best aspects of your property, that's really an important moment. Okay, so let me go back and just, in this section of staging, pretty simple. It's all about flow. And the first point is you enhance flow by understanding this concept of Feng Shui, which is that we are trying to set a space so that the buyer has the ability to feel their energy beginning to harmonize with your interior of your property and outside as well. But I'm focused mostly on the interior here today. And the way that we do that is the second point, is that we really try to maximize the sense of flow by getting rid of stuff that is not necessary to tell the story of the energy and the flow of your property without becoming too sparse. A little footnote there for all the builders out there. Your properties look beautiful and shiny and new, but they look so much better to the buyer who can see themselves sitting at a kitchen table, laying down on a bed, sitting in the couch, watching TV. Those are just the core things that you really should think about, making sure that you do some staging to give them the sense of their ability to harmonize their life with your beautiful brand new property, right? And then lastly, imagine that they're going to imagine their friends, their family, and their stuff there. Can they do it? Or is your stuff blocking the flow and the energy? All right, I'll summarize it this way. Remember that staging your home to flow better will definitely enhance the buyer's ability to feel a positive energy. And I'll tell you for sure, that's worth more money to you at the sale. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future by getting a hold of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you over at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin courses.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen, and you won't miss out on any of these insights each time we upload. We also post all of these uploads all over social media, so just go find Griffin Realty Group and you won't miss any of these. We'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with other people just like you that need the help that we're talking about here because they have that need to sell or buy. And of course, remember, nobody's coming for you. So go take action and get to work on a plan for buying and selling, and we'll see you in the next episode.